Hello, seventh graders. This is Mrs. Alexander, and in this video, we are discussing English 7B's lesson 5.12 through 5.16, the propaganda essay and oral presentation. Although we won't cover too much of the oral presentation in this video, we will be discussing what is going into this assignment leading up to 5.14, teacher graded assignment, and the propaganda essay lessons 5.12 through 5.14. So let's talk about our lesson objectives. Let's specifically look at the beginning of this writing assignment, which is lesson 5.12. In this lesson, you are judging an argument in the text. You're using vocabulary strategies to understand a word's meaning. You are revising sentence fragments in writing. You are exploring a model propaganda essay. And ultimately, at the end, you are choosing a topic for the propaganda essay. There is a list of topics in lesson 5.12 that you need to choose from for this assignment. So what is propaganda? Well, propaganda has usually two underlying messages, which can either be a literal message or an underlying message. These images down below is something that you might think of when you think of propaganda. Propaganda is a way to persuade someone of something using rhetorical fallacies and rhetorical devices, which we'll talk about in this lesson. Ultimately, propaganda is the use of ideas, information, and sometimes rumors to help one's own cause or to hurt an opposing cause. It's also important that you understand the difference between viewpoint and point of view. So what is viewpoint in English language arts? Well, viewpoint describes how the narrator perceives the story or the subject of the text, while point of view describes who is speaking or telling the story. So sometimes students often get these two terms mixed up, and they are two different terms when we talk about English language arts. So point of view, you would probably think of it as first person point of view, using pronouns like I, me, you, he, she, it. Viewpoint is how the author describes or feels about a certain subject or text. Notice how it's not relating to the point of view or the narrator or something like that. So keep that in mind. All right, so in lesson 5.12, you will look at a model essay, which will help provide you some clarity on the expectation for you for your 5.14 essay. There's also a checklist for writing that you should really consider as you begin drafting and even planning this essay. Think about who your audience is. Think about what position you have towards the topic. Think about your tone. What is your attitude as the writer towards the subject or topic? Are you friendly about it, upset about it, excited about it? And then think about the type of language you will use throughout your essay. Will it have a positive or negative connotation, depending on what you're trying to persuade? The topics students often can't find. So in lesson 5.12, notice under the practice section, the last practice section in 5.12, there's a Word document titled Topics List. This is where you will find the list of topics for your essay. All right, now on to lesson 5.13. In this essay, you are evaluating an argument, including the reasoning used to support a claim. And you're also identifying faulty reasoning or logical fallacies in persuasive media. You're going to consider new information and modifying your own views during a discussion, which may or may not be there depending on your course and in the cohort. Let me go back here. And you're also going to plan a piece of writing, including an outline that you will submit with your propaganda essay. So a closer look, in lesson 5.13, it's really important that you pay special attention to the pages that are titled Rhetorical Fallacies. And you'll talk about the different types of rhetorical fallacies, such as ad hominem, and exaggeration, categorical claims, and other examples of rhetorical fallacies, such as stereotyping. It's also important that you pay attention to the rhetorical devices pages where you will talk about stereotyping, emotional appeal, loaded language. All of these are terms that you need to demonstrate mastery over in your 5.14 assessment. And that'll make a lot of sense in a moment when I show you the outline that you have to complete. Some of the other rhetorical devices you'll look at is filter the evidence, flatter the audience, divide the opposition, persuasion, and rhetorical questions and parallelism. Now, this is the assignment directions, which you can find in lesson 5.14, also in lesson 5.12. So notice the bullet points here. You can use these as a checklist as you begin drafting and finalizing this final essay for lesson 5.14. Notice that you will need to submit this required guide. Now, this is found in lesson 5.13. It's under the graphic organizer outline document on the right-hand side under materials in lesson 5.13 under develop your thesis. Notice on the left-hand side here, this is what the pages will look like. You need to complete this as you plan your essay, and you will submit it along with your final draft in lesson 5.14. The rubric for 5.14 is shown here. It's worth 50 points. You are going to be graded on the following criteria listed here on the rubric. Lastly, within these writing lessons, we always include grammar. And the importance of this is it helps provide clarity and coherence in your writing. So some of the grammar topics you'll look at in these lessons are multiple meaning words and correcting sentence and fragments. So in these lessons, you'll discuss homonyms and homophones, which you've probably discussed before. And we'll look at how one word might be as a verb in one sentence and a noun in the other. And it's important for you to really understand what is the meaning of the word as it's being used in the sentence. So you have to look at maybe the dictionary definition of the word and then determine the part of speech and how it's being used in a sentence. You'll also need to understand how to correct fragments and sentences. Sometimes that includes adding punctuation marks like commas or periods. You might also have to add subjects or verbs. And you'll also work on correcting sentences. Well, everyone, this was Mrs. Alexander. I hope that I outlined and previewed for you the important components of lesson 5.12 through 5.14. Look for a follow-up video for lessons 5.15 and 5.16, which will complete this unit project on propaganda essay and propaganda techniques. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you in our live class to carry out this topic further. And as always, please reach out to me if you need any further help with these concepts or with this writing assignment. Thank you so much.